June 18, 2020. One of Germany's most valuable companies has a simple task: show its auditors $2 billion sitting in two bank accounts in the Philippines. $2 billion. Roughly a quarter of everything the company claims to own. The auditors call the banks in Manila, and the banks say something no investor ever wants to hear. The accounts don't exist. The documents are fake. The money was never here. Within 1 week, $28 billion in market value burns to almost nothing. The CEO is arrested. The number 2 executive boards a plane and disappears. He is still one of the most wanted men on earth. This is the story of Wirecard, the $2 billion that never existed. Our story starts in 1999 in a suburb of Munich. Wirecard begins as a tiny payments processor with a specialty most banks won't touch: processing credit card payments for gambling and adult websites. It's a gray zone, but it's profitable. In 2002, a new CEO takes over, Markus Braun, an Austrian computer scientist who wears black turtlenecks and quotes big ideas about the future of money. Investors start calling him Germany's answer to Steve Jobs. And the timing is perfect. The world is going digital. Every online purchase needs someone in the middle, someone to move the money. Wirecard positions itself as that someone. The company starts announcing deals everywhere: Asia, the Middle East, partnerships, acquisitions, licenses. Every quarter, revenue goes up. Every year, profits grow, like clockwork. Never a bad quarter, never a miss. By 2018, Wirecard is worth more than Deutsche Bank, Germany's largest bank, founded 148 years earlier. It enters the DAX 30, the elite index of Germany's most important companies. Politicians celebrate it. Regulators protect it. Analysts scream, buy. Markus Braun's personal stake is worth billions. He tells investors the company will double, then double again. And almost everyone believes him. Almost everyone. In London, a small team of journalists at the Financial Times keeps hearing the same whisper from industry insiders. Wirecard's numbers don't add up. A reporter named Dan McCrum starts digging. And what he finds is strange. Wirecard claims massive profits in Asia, flowing through 3 mysterious partner companies. But when investigators visit the addresses, they find almost nothing. One partner office, supposedly moving hundreds of millions of dollars, traces back to a location that looks nothing like a financial operation. In 2019, the Financial Times publishes its investigation. Whistleblowers in Singapore describe forged contracts and backdated documents. Now, here is where this story becomes truly unbelievable. Because when the fraud was exposed, guess who got investigated? Not Wirecard. The journalists. Germany's financial regulator, BaFin, files a criminal complaint against the reporters, accusing them of market manipulation. It bans investors from betting against Wirecard's stock, something it had never done for a single company in German history. The national champion had to be protected. Wirecard sues, hires private investigators. Critics are followed, and the stock keeps climbing. One country's pride had become too big to question, but pressure kept building. In late 2019, Wirecard is forced to hire KPMG, one of the world's biggest audit firms, for a special investigation to clear its name once and for all. Braun promises investors the report will end all doubts. In April 2020, the report lands. And it's devastating, not because of what it finds, but because of what it can't find. KPMG cannot verify that Wirecard's Asian profits are real, cannot confirm the customer relationships, cannot trace the cash. For 15 years, Wirecard reported profits, and its own special auditor cannot prove the core business exists. The money, Supposedly 1.9 billion euros, about $2.1 billion, is said to be parked in trustee accounts in the Philippines. Safe, untouchable, just never actually seen. The company's regular auditor, EY, has signed off on Wirecard's books for over a decade. But this time, EY insists on one final, simple check: independent confirmation, directly from the banks in Manila. It is the one thing Wirecard cannot fake. June 18th, 2020. The banks in the Philippines respond. The documents shown to auditors were, in their words, spurious, fake. The accounts do not exist. Wirecard announces that 1.9 billion euros is missing. The stock falls 70% in 2 days, then keeps falling. 98% of the company's value, gone. Pension funds, index funds, ordinary German savers, all holding ashes. Days later, Wirecard admits the truth. The money doesn't just happen to be missing. It probably never existed at all. The Asian profits, the entire engine of the company's growth, were largely an illusion. A machine built to report imaginary money. Wirecard files for insolvency. The first DAX company in history to collapse into bankruptcy. Markus Braun, the turtleneck visionary, is arrested. He has sat in a Munich jail cell while prosecutors pursue a case running for years. But one man saw it coming: Jan Marsalek, Wirecard's chief operating officer, the man who ran the Asian business at the heart of the fraud. The day after the scandal breaks, he tells colleagues he's flying to Manila to find the money. Instead, investigators believe he boards a private plane to Belarus and vanishes. Today, he's on Interpol's most wanted list, suspected of ties to Russian intelligence. He has never been found. $28 billion in value. 15 years of fake profits. An entire country's regulators, auditors, and politicians fooled by a company that was checked and checked and checked again. The scariest part of the Wirecard story isn't that the money disappeared. It's that the money was never there, and no one wanted to look. If you want more stories about how fortunes are built and how they burn, subscribe. Next time, the man who ran the biggest lie in Wall Street history for 40 years.